Hello everyone, I hope you're okay. So I thought what I would do in this video is talk to you a little bit about what I call pinch points when out on a walk with your dog. So these are areas where your dog may be more likely to be triggered or more likely to show a reactive response. So if you have an aggressive dog that's dog aggressive with other dogs, it could be where they're more likely to kick off at another dog even if you think they've got plenty of space or, you know, that dog seemed friendly, anything like that. So pinch points are areas where your dog is put above their threshold. So in our diagram, we can see that there are different threshold points. So if we just have a look at that to begin with. Here we have three different zones. So we have the green zone, the amber zone and the red zone. The green zone, your dog is aware of its trigger, but it's not reactive towards it. So it can see the other dog, but it's not reactive. The amber zone, they're showing much more awareness. They're showing some reactive behaviours, but can still respond to you. And then the red zone is where they're completely over threshold. They cannot focus on anything but that trigger and they cannot hear you. So this zone, they're not learning at all. We want to work them completely in the green zone where learning is at its maximum potential. Okay, so now we understand the thresholds a little bit better. We're looking at that dog going from having a very large green zone and there's lots of space to suddenly that green zone being made shorter by a physical barrier. So this could be something like steps where they're narrow. It could be where you have on a wooded walk you have a stile they have to go over, or it could be that there's like a pillar they have to go around, so where it's shut off and they have to walk around this bit and it's very narrow. If you're in group dog situations, trying to get the two dogs to go through this narrow area at the same time could result in them just being put way too over threshold. They've not got that flight response because it's been taken away by the environment, so therefore they're more likely to go into the fight response. So the first one we're going to look at is the wood scenario that I showed you. So if you have a look at this picture and we can go through where the issues are going to be on this. Here you can see the path narrowing as we approach the gate, giving us our first pinch point in this scenario. Here you would need to think about giving the dogs enough space so that they can move around this pinch point without feeling the need to react to each other. Okay, and the second scenario that I've got for you picture-wise is the bridge at Bude Beach. So this is a bridge that you cross over to get from the path to the actual beach. This bridge isn't overly narrow, it is relatively wide. You can easily fit 2 or 3 dogs walking alongside each other down this bridge. However, if you have a dog that's more nervous of other dogs, this is going to be an area where they feel quite penned in by the fact that they can't get away. They've literally only got the bridge, they've got to get from one end to the other with a dog there. So these are the areas we really want to be aware of. So let's have a look at that bridge and then I can show you kind of what I mean by there's no escape routes. Okay, so hopefully from looking at those pictures and seeing it, you'll be able to understand what I'm on about in terms of looking for pinch points and walks. So like I say, these are bridges, these are barriers, these are gates. It could be when you're leaving the field, your dog's had a really, really good time. You've managed to do loads of great work with other dogs and they've seemed to be really positive. But as you leave the field and go through that gate, even though you've had all those positive experiences, your dog then snaps at another dog perhaps the other side of the gate or coming through the gate at the same time as you. And it's just because that was a pinch point on that walk for them. They were over triggered by how their environment suddenly became a lot smaller and their flight options have been taken away from them. So it's just really important to remember that. It doesn't mean that, you know, you've done anything wrong necessarily. It just means be aware of where those pinch points are. If you have a nervous dog, or even if you have an overexcitable dog, going into those pinch points, they're going to find it harder to either cope or control themselves. So if they're nervous, they're going to find it much harder to not react to that other dog in a fear response way. And if they are overexcitable and just want to meet every single dog or person, they're going to find it much harder to contain themselves and be able to actually walk past them calmly. So if we look at the examples of the bridge at Bude again, with this bridge, what I would always do when I'm walking up to the bridge is I would try and see if there's any other dogs that are around there. And if it's possible, you can then wait. If you're at the beach side, you can wait for that bridge to be clear, so you have a clear run going over it rather than trying to meet another dog head on. If you get yourself into a difficult situation where you're starting to walk through a pinch point, so starting to walk through a gate or a bridge, or a narrowing point, so the path has even become narrow, you've gone from a big field to a narrow woodland path that you have to walk through, giving your dog that stimulated flight response is going to be massively beneficial for you. So for you to ask them to maybe sit and wait while another dog comes past them might just be too much for them, and they're not going to be able to cope with that. They're going to need to feel like they can move. So if you can quickly walk past the other dog on lead and just essentially ignore them kicking off just so you can get past the other dog, that will be so much more beneficial for their learning. So you've got your dog, there's another dog coming towards you, you've got your dog on lead and it's sitting the other dog and you're panicking and it's panicking. Just think to yourself, right, okay, we're going to get past this. Try and put your dog the other side. So your dog's this side, their dog's that side of you. And I just literally want you to go, come on then, let's go, and just walk really quickly past them. It's okay, give lots of reassurance, well done, hiya to the person. You can even say to them, sorry, I'm training, they're just a bit nervous or a bit overexcited or whatever you want to do. But you don't have to stand there and talk to them, So just give them that, oh, sorry, she's just a bit excitable, whatever, and just get them past that. And as soon as you've got past the other dog, your dog will probably do a nice shake off, or you'll just see them starting to calm down. That's when you can then, ask them to maybe sit and do a bit of calming behaviours and a bit of reassurance. But it just means you've firefighted, essentially, that area. The more you work with your dog, the closer they should be able to get with other dogs, depending on what their issue is. So if it is a nervous issue, you should be able to build their confidence so that eventually they might not want to meet every dog, and that's absolutely fine. I mean, I don't like necessarily every single person that I meet, so they might not want to meet every dog, but you should be able to get a point through working with a behaviourist to be able to walk past another dog without them feeling the need to react in any way. And that's sort of the main goal, is having that expectation that they're not going to meet every single dog, they're not going to want to be friends with every dog, but let's get them to a point where they're comfortable and competent enough to be able to walk past them all. And that's what we really want. So I hope that helps you when you're thinking about your overreactive dog, so your nervous dog, your overexcitable dog, whatever their issues are. When you're on a walk, start becoming a little bit aware of your surroundings. Start looking for those pinch points where you can then preempt perhaps a reactive moment for your animal. So look for those points where the path gets narrow, look for the gates, look for the pinch points, and hopefully that will help you have a bit more of a pleasant and predictable walk for your animal. So instead of being concerned that your dog's just reactive for no reason, perhaps it's just that they were at a pinch point in that walk and it's just over triggered them, and that will help you understand their behaviours a lot better as well. So thank you very much for watching. I've been Liz from Nature's Therapies, and I hope to see you all again soon. Thanks, bye.